Thank everybody for coming today. Just to announce the fall recruiting class. We're really excited about it. The first group I wanted to recognize is all of our former players. I think we've had, let's see here, what is it, Wes? Like 14 or 15 guys that have completed eligibility in our program, the seniors, and days like today wouldn't be possible without those guys. When I think of signing a good player, I think of Keenan Evans' contributions to this program, or when we're recruiting the next great player, I think about, Jarrett Culver and what he did here. So recruiting to me is always about the program, and some of the best recruiters that you have are your former players. So proud to be up here today with some pictures these guys put of our different classes. That first group really got us started. Second group, Elite Eight, was right there in the championship hunt, and certainly last year's group to win the Big 12 championship and play on that final Monday night. We look to continue this kind of success and consistency, with recruiting. This is a class that we're really proud of. I think we've got 3 guys that resemble everything that we look for in recruiting. They're all talented guys. They come from great families. They've been coached at an elite level, both in high school and on the circuit. They love the game. They have character. So it's really our top choices. These guys, we're excited. Want to obviously recognize the staff, the 3 full-time assistants, Brian Berg, Uric, and Coach Adams all did a great job, as well as all the people in support roles. Also want to recognize past coaches we've had here, because several of these guys we've been recruiting for a long time, whether it be Chris Ogden or Al Pinkins or most recently Sip. Those guys did a great job in recruiting roles. So recruiting is team success. It's a team effort. So from our former players to our current staff to guys that have worked in the past, just want to thank and recognize everybody's work in this recruiting class. Talking about each guy, briefly, Chibuzo is a special player. He's the first guy that started this class. Comes from a great family. Has been coached at a big-time level, both on the circuit with ATOP and his group, one of the most respected AAU organizations, and certainly Coach Hop is one of the best coaches in California and also the whole country. Just the guy's been coached. Buzo is everything we look for in recruiting. He's well-balanced. To me, he's a positionless player. He can play inside, facing the basket. He can play on the perimeter. He's got a huge upside, not only in college basketball, but eventually professional basketball. He's a guy that does much more than score. He plays on both ends of the floor. And his shooting touch is really what makes him a unique player, and we'll get him on the floor early in his career at Texas Tech. Certainly Micah Peavy. We're so proud to be Micah's coach and for him to choose Texas Tech. This guy's one of the best players in not only in Texas but the whole country. He can play multiple positions. He's a special guy. He can score, he can pass, he can defend, he can score on all 3 levels. Just like Buzo, he's been coached at a high level. His high school coach, David Peavy, has been doing it for a long time, and has coached Micah to understand how to play and compete and win and play possession by possession. He had a chance to play for 2 great grassroots organizations, most recently with Coach Webster, and those guys do a great job. So Micah has been coached at an elite level. He, too, comes from a great family with character, understands how to be a part of a team, has a humility and an unselfishness about him, being a great, great player. It's a combination you don't see a lot, but his mom, Tam, and his dad, David, have done a great job. His sister and his brother, DJ, who's a great college player in his own mark. So, again, everything we look for in recruiting, Micah resembles this. He's going to be an impact player here, not to put pressure on these 3 guys or Micah or Mari, but these guys, they're going to play earlier in their career. I think they chose Texas Tech for all the right reasons. Looking forward to coaching them. Then most recently, Namari, gets a lot of attention, which he should. He's a legitimate, top player around the country. Could have gone anywhere in the country, just like Buzo and Micah. But he is everything that we look for. Number one, he is a winner. He's won at every level he's ever played at, from when he was a little kid to the circuit, to USA basketball, to FIBA 3-on-3, to the Peach Jam. The guy just knows how to win. He's played for a great organization in grassroots basketball, guys that really know what they're doing. And certainly his high school coach right now, Joy Fuca, is I just have such a high opinion watching their practices over the last couple months in the recruiting process. He's being coached at a high level, and he was coached at a high level in the summer. Another family guy with great character. His mom and dad, Brian and Nikki, are people that they get it. They've raised their son to be elite, not just in basketball, but the way he acts and handles himself off the court. He's got special written all over him. So these three guys share a lot of common things in the fact that they are basketball players that play on both ends, that can rebound, they can score, they can assist, they can play different positions. All three of them are ultimate winners, have won championships, have played at the highest level of summer basketball and high school basketball. They come from great families, and they're all unselfish guys. So we're proud of this recruiting class. I want to thank everybody that's contributed to it, and I look forward to answering some questions right now about all these guys.
Coach, you've had great recruiting classes, starting with Culver and Zaire along those lines, but they weren't necessarily as heralded as this group. Has it become that much easier for you to get guys like this? And could you have imagined having people like this knock on your door as opposed to you having to beg them to come this direction?
Well, there's nothing easy about recruiting, but I do think there's a direct relationship between success and recruiting. Texas Tech basketball, we won the Big 12 Conference last year. We've come into back-to-back NCAA tournaments with Elite Eight, Final Four, National Championship game. We've had a one-and-done. We've had a lottery pick. We've got 4 or 5 other guys on NBA organization contracts. We have one of the best home courts in all college basketball now. We've sold out our first 3 games this year, 2 at home and 1 in Midland last night. This success is real, and it's not an arrogance, but it's the truth, and it's the reason why players like Damari and Micah and Buzo consider Texas Tech. So, again, I just want to thank everybody that came before us, before this recruiting class. It's our fans. It's our season ticket holders. We're building a program that's worthy of the best players in the country considering, and that's what we're talking about today. And then, again, those former players. We're not sitting here today if it wasn't for Keenan Evans and Zach Smith and Justin Gray and, Tommy Hamilton. These guys have paved the way for the success that we're having now in recruiting.
Chris, these guys had a lot of offers from some really, really good schools, and you mentioned all the success that you had that definitely played a role in their decision to come here. But was there anything else about your pitch that really, do you think, separated you guys from other schools besides your on-the-court success?
Yeah, those would be questions for the three players. What I can speak of is from our point of view. One thing that's really interesting with these guys is, these are 5-star players, and but they still resemble everything we look for. We're a program that says, we never want to lose our chip, and we want to stay hungry. And these guys, as talented as they all have a lot to prove. They're all skill development guys. As good as these 3 players are, most recently talking to Namari for one example, this guy wants to get better, and he has a lot of confidence in his game, and him and I share the view of where basketball will take him, but he's also a guy that's in the gym every single day. Micah gets to school every day before most people aren't up. Buzo works on his craft when other people aren't looking, and Namari has that love of the game, that addiction to the game that's required. So I think what's special is we're obviously getting talented guys, but they're also staying within the realm of what we look for, which is love of the game. Don't lose your chip. Be competitive. Wake up every day trying to win, and trying to prove people wrong. So I'm really proud that these guys fit the mold of what we look for, and they're obviously talented players.
You look at your teams, and it's a bunch of unselfish players. How do you spy that from a young age in high school and then maintain it as they play at a higher level?
Well, these 3 guys have executed it near perfection. I think it starts with their families. Earlier I mentioned all 3 players' parents, mom and dad, support systems. They played for real grassroots programs that know how to win. Their high school coaches are tremendous. And all 3 of these guys are guys that really know what they're doing. So these 3 players come in and they've been coached, and they've been coached hard, and they played on the biggest stage. And so, a big part of it is just is understanding where you're at and where you're trying to get. And even though these guys, where they're at is a high level right now, I think all three of them understand that there's some work to be done to reach their goals.
You're good.
How much do you think Micah's relationship with Jemias played a role in his decision to come here?
Yeah, I think it contribute. Again, that'd be a question for Micah, but why I'm sitting up here with all these pictures today, the best recruiters you have are your current players and your former players. There's no good player around the country. Micah, Namari, Buzo, these guys aren't just going to go to a school based on what a coach is saying or what the last game looked like. I mean, these are business decisions, and these three guys had great support group. I have such respect on how each guy went through their recruiting process, and just humbled and honored that at the end of the day they chose Texas Tech, and they're trusting our staff, with their futures. But your former players and your current players, are everything. So, when Buzo takes his visit, he really hits it off with the guys in that locker room. And when Micah comes, he has a connection with these guys. Obviously, there was some familiarity there with Ramsey, but he also, hits it off with the TJ on his visit, and the leadership of Morrow and Kyler Edwards. So, don't really want to single out any of our guys because everybody on our current team did a great job with this recruiting class. And then with Namari told me himself that, he just felt at home. It clicked for him pretty early. And a big part of that is the players. I'm not the guy that's going to be hanging out with these guys. I'm going to coach them, and I'm going to be there with them at practice. But, when guys come to college, whether they're here 1 year or 2 years or 3 years or sometimes 4, those teammates are the ones that they're going to be living with. So the most important thing in recruiting, in my opinion, is your players. And our guys did a great job with this class.